Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Herfla podcast. I'm Saahiti Madhavarsu, your host, and welcome back to the space where we can talk openly about our bodies, minds, and everything that we're often not taught when we're growing up. Today, I'm very excited to welcome our esteemed guest, Dr. Abhimanyu, a psychiatrist with over 10 years of experience in his field. Dr. Abhimanyu works closely with adolescents and has spent years helping patients with depression, anxiety, bipolar, psychosis, and addictions. He specifically works to employ strategies to prevent illness among his patients. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Abhimanyu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sahiti. A great initiative. I really appreciate the way you're just trying to not take care of yourself, but even others, because there's a lot of information gap that people have to get, in order to make themselves better and fit. So I really I'm glad that you invited me, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope we definitely can help others be and lead a better life.
Yes, of
Thank you.
course. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, all the work that you've done to help people with their mental health, which is becoming an increasingly important topic. So
Right.
let's dive right in. Our first question really revolves around the changes that we see in our psychology and our mental health, right? So at HerFlow, we
Yeah.
often talk about puberty and the changes that teens undergo in the ages 10 to 18 as adolescents. So I really want to
Mm-hmm.
know what kinds of psychological or emotional shifts do you observe as a psychiatrist in girls aged 10 to 18 years old?
Right. So, see, before we understand the development of psych, we need to understand how there are physical changes in the body which take place, and overall development of physical and mental. They both have to go hand in hand for you to be, a better balanced adult. So let's understand this way, ki, when it's your brain, all of it is your brain and your neurons. So as you grow, the synapses are formed. Okay, so synapse is nothing but it's a connection between two neurons.
Mm-hmm.
So the more the connection is, that means you're exposed to those situations and you try to register them, and
Mm-hmm.
then eventually you try to behave accordingly. Right? If
Right.
I'm thirsty, I
Mm-hmm.
need to ask for water. Now that is my need. But whom to ask is what I would be learning eventually,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if I fall down as a child, then I know I'm hurt. But what to do next is what I'm eventually learning,
Mm-hmm.
right? So physically I'm developing, my bones will eventually become longer. I'll be tall.
Mm-hmm.
But psychologically, I am studying the environment, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to understand what is my place, what are my needs, and how do I really work in such a way that they are met comfortably, right? So it's a very important part to know that the brain is so capable of forming all of this inside, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
good in-depth understanding is required. So now, for example, if I have to say when am I supposed to sleep? So as a child, I know parents would really put me to sleep. They say, no, no, this is the time you need to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have not left me, ki, okay, you want to sleep, you sleep, or you be awake.
Right.
So they are trying to regulate my circadian rhythm, right? As a child,
Mm-hmm.
I might be very excited to be awake, to play around, right? To watch
Right.
something or to, do some creative stuff. But, I need to really form a curriculum wherein, okay, now what they are trying to do, in my brain, hypothalamus is receiving all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as it receives, it knows, ki, okay, this is where I need to restructure all my, the rhythm,
Right.
the synapses, right? And accordingly, as soon as the time is like 8 or 9, then I am sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's out of a long training that my
Right.
brain is trying to say, okay, this is the environment and this is how you really need to adapt yourself.
Of course.
Okay. So, as it receives the information, it tries to then regulate things. So,
Mhm.
all our hormones are produced in accordance to the way we are developing,
Right.
not too early and not too delayed.
Mm-hmm.
So adolescence is such an important thing wherein it's a harm, we need to understand it in a way key. There are two pillars. One is the physical development, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is chemical, that is hormonal.
Right.
Okay. So when these two go hand in hand properly, it really gives you, a complete shift from a child to an
Mm-hmm.
adult,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the process is nothing but adolescent. So,
Right.
and this is where a lot of confusion comes because, uh, you don't know why these changes are any of the physical developments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in girls, when they really menstruate for the first time, they really feel, is it really abnormal? Should
Mm-hmm.
I really be worried? What do I even do now? Can I even share? So all
Right.
these things, it's again, this is the environment, and what is happening inside is your brain trying to receive through your sensory inputs,
Mm-hmm.
and it knows, कि, okay, this is how I need to understand and behave,
Right. Right. Got it.
right? So it's very important, through these kind of talks, we might be able to teach kids, okay, what is happening and
Mm-hmm.
how normal it is, what is physiological, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually we can get into a discussion what is pathological, that is what is wrong, what is abnormal,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That will try to, so they understand that this is normal and this is not normal,
Right.
and what to do when it is not normal, right?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So, as you said, through development, based
Right.
on your environment and how you take in the sensory cues, that really changes how you respond, right? So, what you said
Right.
about the neuron synapses and how they may rearrange in response to changing environments. So, the
Mm-hmm.
same way you kind of develop those connections as a child, again, those
Right.
change due to changes in hormones when you go through puberty. So your example of when a girl first reaches menarche, when they first menstruate, that is a change in
Mm-hmm.
their environment, in their daily rhythm of life, and therefore it leads to a change in their brain.
Right. So, see, what is happening in the body and what you see out is a response to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if a child is exposed to too much of, any of these, say, adult contents and too much of sexuality in their
Mm-hmm.
early childhood, then hypothalamus perceives, कि, okay, this is what is the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to really prepare the body. So we
Right.
say, the more children play out, they
Mm-hmm.
run, they understand what nutrition is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Other than just being uh, driven towards somebody,
Right.
that is where we want their physical development to occur first.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're exposed to other things, then the hypothalamus perceives, ki, okay, this is where I really need to start, pushing the hormones.
Right. Right.
Okay, so we need to know when,
Mm-hmm.
because the environment is what is preparing you to be what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, like if I have to say, I'm watching a lot of, say, games, or I'm playing games, or I'm watching a lot of content with my mother or father or my siblings,
Mm-hmm.
then to my age it has to be appropriate.
Right.
If it is not, then I might really be exposed to something too early, which
Mm-hmm.
is not a good thing,
Right. Thank
right?
you. So that makes a lot of sense. And on that conversation, so you really mentioned how, as you're developing, you have to ensure that you're being exposed to um, content that is appropriate for you and your age of development, right? So,
Right.
on that same topic, when it really comes to teenage years, right? because those are kind of your formative years, and especially as teenagers, that's when a lot of very influential factors come into your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? As
Mm-hmm.
teens go to middle school and high school, there's a lot of changes in the friend circle, and especially now with our generation, there's a lot of social media influence, right? So,
True.
what type of impact do all these different influences, such as friends, family, social media, and the other content that you were describing, what type of
Right.
impact does it have on their mental and emotional well-being, and just like you've been mentioning, the development?
Right. True. So, before I put that, let
Mm-hmm.
me give you an example of body. Like, physically we have major organs like brain, a
Mm-hmm.
heart, or kidneys, a liver,
Yes.
right? Lungs. So
Yeah.
all these things, when they really work together, it is letting me breathe. It is letting
Mm-hmm.
me move my hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's letting you nod your head. See,
Right. Yeah.
all of this is because, all those systems are really working perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the same way, we really need to understand in the process of development,
Mm-hmm.
it is always the physical development, there is sexual development, there is cognitive development,
Mm-hmm.
there is morality, wherein a child needs to really, incorporate and understand what is what.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
very important. And then they really need to understand what is socializing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these are very important components wherein they have to slowly incorporate, and without your knowledge it always develops. See, that is what is the environment, and that's why we are known as social beings.
Right. Of course.
We cannot just survive our own. So
Mm-hmm.
we need, you don't need all of this for your organs to develop. You just need good food, water, and air.
Right.
But you need lot of, your healthy environment for you to develop all these things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, like, when it comes to, we can just go one by one. See, physical development, you need good sleep, you need good nutrition, you need to be exposed to good form of exercise,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to understand, once you jump right on the
Mm-hmm.
ground, the way the body absorbs shock,
Right.
it really tunes you. Okay, yeah, you need to run, you might fall, and you need to be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay, so just being on the couch and not playing around is somewhere we are stopping our physical development,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
That's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the second thing that I spoke, is sexual development, wherein eventually we are taught ki what am I? What are my sexual organs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
then eventually I'll be clear of my gender.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'll understand ki, okay, this is my gender, this is where I have my preference,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is what I will eventually like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these things, they are again with the hormone. So
Mm-hmm.
thalamus, it just, it, it's so beautiful. The more we read, we get to know, okay, it's so complex. But
Of course. Yeah.
as you read and as you learn, it is
Mm-hmm.
so simple, because
Mm-hmm.
you understand the parts and you understand the components.
Right.
So, it, along with pituitary,
Mm-hmm.
it releases, all your FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, and your luteinizing hormone, wherein, all these things of the process of ovulation takes place.
Mm-hmm.
So the environment plays a very important role. But if suppose you're very stressed,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you are under fear, and stress is nothing but some sort of a fear that is making you, have that inner discomfort all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that definitely would delay all these, processes which are happening inside.
Right.
So that is where now cognitive development comes,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is like perception, learning,
Mm-hmm.
language,
Mm-hmm.
memory, understanding. So imagine a child who goes to school and by chance he loses her water bottle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So now, what if the child is questioned, "Ki, where did you really lose it?"
Right. Yeah.
right? And that creates a big question mark. And then they are like forced to analyze, okay, where did I really misplace it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, this
Right.
is an environment.
Mm-hmm.
So if the child is shouted badly,
Right.
you're so reckless, you cannot take care of your things, it's
Mm-hmm.
better we don't give you anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this creates some sort of a stress,
Right. Yeah.
right? And that might lead to guilt, that might
Mm-hmm.
lead to self-blame. So many kids out there, they suffer with this, right? So it's very important key how cognition is being formed. So it is not, I wouldn't say it's formed, but we need to understand it has to be matured,
Mature.
right? In a good way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of these things we all do. We perceive things, we understand, we have our language to express, we memorize things,
Mm-hmm.
right? We calculate, we
Mm-hmm.
do all of this. But
Mm-hmm.
how maturely are we doing?
Right. Yeah.
Right? That's very important.
Yes, of course. So really the
And
different interactions that we have throughout our development are
right,
key factors that are impacting our cognitive development and how we respond to those things.
true, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes socializing. See, if I'm put into an environment wherein I need to prove myself. So before
Mm-hmm.
I prove myself, what am I?
Mm-hmm.
That's very important,
Right.
right? So how do you place yourself, like, in the class, right? Where are you? What's your worth? How do you know? So
Mm-hmm.
there is always a parameter which is set,
Right.
right? As a child, if I'm able to throw the ball, and if others are unable to, then I feel a little good about myself. Ki, oh, I'm able to do the task,
Right. Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
somebody is unable to. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing when that happens with me, right? When I fail to do a task, that is where I might feel a little low about myself. Right? That is quite natural. You feel ki, okay, it's now the new set parameter that you are unable to meet to the expectations,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is where self-esteem is eventually formed,
Okay.
right? The self-worth and then my fitness in the environment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which keeps pushing me, which keeps, telling me, it works like a sensor. Okay, yeah, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have already done. And this is just a new set parameter that you really can do it. You have the
Mm-hmm.
capability,
Right. Right. That
right?
makes a lot
So
of
it's
sense.
it's a very right, yeah. So we need to understand what's happening with us
Mm-hmm.
because we are always behind the task completion. Okay, there's a task I need to finish. But if we take some time out, we will be able to understand, okay, this is what is happening. And then I need to understand, okay, this is natural to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to, you know, not to finish the task sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So that really, what you said about you just reiterated the fact early on that humans are social beings. And I think
Mm,
that is such an interesting point to reflect upon because really how the different interactions relative to other people, right? That shapes a
mm,
lot of who we are. And like you said, our self esteem, right?
right.
Our perception of ourselves is greatly impacted by our interactions with those around us. So your example of succeeding or failing at a task in comparison to someone else, right? If were you able to do that task while someone else wasn't, or were you not able to do that task? All of those little interactions really shape how we perceive ourselves.
Right.
So that is very interesting to me. And then kind of piggybacking off of that, um, we know that with social media, there's a lot of influences that may cause young adults to have a lesser self perception, right? Because there's just
Right.
so many things out there that make you start to have self doubt and less self confidence, less self
Hmm.
esteem. So, what are your thoughts on how social media and even interactions in school may impact? a young adult's mental health and just, like you said, the self-esteem, and what can we do to protect our self-esteem and self-confidence?
Right. So we need to understand, we always try to push our boundaries, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Try to understand so this way, a child who is trying to ride a bicycle, eventually wants to ride a bigger bike, which has a bigger motor,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how I would say is, we want to push our boundaries. So the risk-taking behavior of a human, always pushes him to what, he is today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now I'm able to talk to you. Do you think it's the first time I'm talking to you or a person
No,
on the
yeah,
camera? No.
of
So for
course.
the first time, I would have definitely felt, ki, am I good? Am I really making it right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I making any impact? So all these questions would have come to me when I would have really been onto a camera for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, now that was a risk because I have not done it before. But
Mm-hmm.
as we do, the accomplishment of achieving something that you wanted to,
Right.
right? And appreciation from others will make you feel good about it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So, that risk-taking behavior is always inert. But
Mm-hmm.
how much of it we're taking?
Right.
And how much we shouldn't. Say for
Mm-hmm.
suppose, somebody offered me alcohol in my college. So I said, no, I'm not for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I was taught in my family, you're not going to consume it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not even socially, not even you need to taste. Why? Because any small amount is definitely injurious to you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Of
Any
course.
given day. So
Mm-hmm.
now this thing, it depends on me whether should I take this risk or not,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is
Right.
it a good form of pushing myself or is it a bad form of pushing myself?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the heroic factor of accomplishing what others are unable to always motivates you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? But is it in a good way or a bad way? So others can influence you socially. That there's definitely peer pressure that, come on, man, you need to, what if you don't? Like, nobody's gonna like you, nobody's gonna socialize, nobody's gonna be with you. I said, that's okay.
Yeah.
Never I went for any of the substances there
Mm-hmm.
out there, right? Because I knew this risk is bad.
Right. Yeah.
You take it, it's not heroic, it is actually destroying you any given day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Right.
when we really are influenced, see, social media or any of the influences, we need to know that I didn't know, I didn't have the information, now I got it and I want to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's
Right.
That's what is influence.
Yeah.
Suppose I get up every day and I want to work out. How
Mm-hmm.
am I influenced? By whom am I influenced?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If somebody really talks to me, what is food, what is physical workout, how is that really gonna keep you up fit,
Right.
right?
Right.
That part of my memory, as I get up, if that is motivating me, that is where I can term it as being influenced,
Right. 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 Right.
right? So three things are happening over here. I understand what am I, then I understand what is my behavior, and I understand what is the result of it,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
That
So
makes, yeah.
we need to really understand that, if we are able to form a proper line, what
Mm-hmm.
am I, what's my behavior, and what's going to be the result.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to know what am I need info.
Mm-hmm.
I need right, appropriate information,
Mm-hmm.
and what to do and what not to do. Again, I need information.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the, result, I need to have the information,
Of course.
right?
Right.
So if like, I need to understand if I am a student, how
Mm-hmm.
much of social media am I supposed to use?
Mm-hmm.
How do I really utilize screen time and internet for my benefit,
Yeah.
right? Instead of, just wasting it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is where if I know myself, then you know your behavior
Of course.
eventually,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can control the output,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So every adolescent, he wants to be successful in his adult life.
Mm-hmm.
We have big dreams built up. We understand, okay, I want to be that, I want to be this,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
all of it is of the result. But if we forget to address these two components, the
Mm-hmm.
information which is related,
Mm-hmm.
then the result is not going to be that great.
Of course, yeah. So really it's about being well informed about, like you said, who are you, and then what is the influence and what is the result, right?
Right.
So really, especially for all of our teens and young adults, and honestly, everyone, all of our listeners who are on social
Hmm.
media, the main thing that you have to know is to be well informed. And then if you are being influenced to make a decision, be informed of it's okay to take in the information, but you have to be informed about whether making that decision is right for you or not, right? It's about
Hmm. Hmm.
good risk taking. Do you want to take a risk that you know has a reward that wouldn't apply for you, or just being more decisive about whether the decisions that you're making are applicable to you and who you are, which requires some self reflection, which is important to do.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw some light on what happens inside when you
Yeah.
do something outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, nowadays, even you might have heard, what dopamine plays a role,
Mm-hmm.
how D hits are so good or bad.
Yeah.
What is the role of serotonin,
Mm-hmm.
as these neurotransmitters, it's very important for us to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose I love music, for example. So what
Right.
exactly is happening when I really listen to any tune that I am often attached to or I like to listen to?
Uh-huh.
So that is where this slight raise in your you know D hits and then your reward,
Mm-hmm.
and because you need to do some action,
Right.
right?
Of
You
course.
need to prompt to Alexa, "Ki, play this music,"
Mm-hmm.
right? And that action is resulting in you feeling better,
Right.
right? And this
Mm-hmm.
is where eventually at every sensory, modality, we are influenced by that. Say I
Mm-hmm.
like something to eat. Suppose
Mm-hmm.
I'm into sugars. That means there's a lot of dopamine hit in my brain the
Mm-hmm.
minute I eat it. So eventually it is
Right.
training me. If I'm low,
Mm-hmm.
right, then I definitely need to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a child, I used to eat a lot while studying. I would
Mm-hmm.
just snack so much up. At that time, there was no one to tell me, this is good or bad. But now
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. I say it's not good. Why? Because there's one more thing we need to understand. The more dopamine you have, it
Mm-hmm.
is suppressing your serotonin, which is again very important. I mean, serotonin is so important for you to focus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if
Mm-hmm.
you're able to follow what I'm trying to tell you, that
Mm-hmm.
is because of this neurotransmitter.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
if anybody is into too much of dopamine heads,
Mm-hmm.
then their attention span usually decreases,
Got it. Got it.
right? So
That
nowadays I
makes
see
sense.
many people having very short attention span. They
Yeah.
have memory issues. They're irritated. They say,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot do this." You
Mm-hmm.
cannot sit and study for more than say half an hour or 20 minutes. Why?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
other times we are much into scrolling, and some way or the
Right.
other, some
Yeah. Yeah.
sensory
Yeah.
organ
Mm-hmm.
is into dopamine hit.
Okay, that makes
Okay.
so much sense because so I'm having like an aha moment right now
Right.
because we often hear that phrase that teens these days have short attention spans and that social
Mm-hmm.
media and the whole, the like idea of scrolling has caused
Right.
um, short attention spans. But I think your explanation just now has helped me make that connection between the dopamine hits and serotonin because I'm going to assume that scrolling through reels and just getting that quick, boost of whatever it is we get scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, I'm assuming
Mm.
that supplies D hits, right?
Right,
Which would
right,
then suppress the serotonin and then therefore lead
right.
to the shorter attention span. Um,
Exactly, right.
yeah, so that is an amazing connection, a beautiful connection in the human brain that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about before. But it really does explain a lot of what we hear today
Right.
about teens and short attention spans and social media. So I hope to all of our listeners out there that you just learned a little bit more about the science as to why people are so against social media and the idea of scrolling. It's because
Mm.
it really does lead to these chemical shifts and an imbalance in your neurotransmitters.
Right.
And for those of you who have been keeping up with all of our Herful episodes, the common motif that we've learned after speaking to many different healthcare professionals is that balance is key, right? So
True.
just like you mentioned right now, there has to be the correct balance between dopamine and serotonin to
Right.
maintain that good attention span and also an appropriate level of dopamine. And when there's an imbalance over there due to too much dopamine levels, that's when your serotonin gets suppressed and then your attention span goes down.
Yeah, and you can see this even in adults nowadays,
Right.
they are quite irritated, they don't
Mm-hmm.
have great focus,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know what exactly is happening, and that really leads to, what I told you in the beginning, then we will definitely discuss about the illness part,
Yeah.
wherein the normal eventually, what if that really becomes abnormal?
Right. 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 So, I'm interested in knowing from your perspective as a psychiatrist, I'm sure you've also met with a lot of adolescent patients. What is
Um,
your opinion when it comes to combating the effect that social media has on attention span?
right. See, before we get into social media, I would like to discuss what's the attachment factor,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I need to be physically attached, emotionally attached, socially attached
Mm-hmm.
to somebody somewhere, right?
Right.
That shows that gives me the comfort that this is my zone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when there is no proper attachment figure formed,
Mm-hmm.
that is where you are still in search of it.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And while searching, that is where you get into a peer circle which can really influence you to do something what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Imagine I have five friends
Mm-hmm.
and all of them, they are motivated to study properly, right?
Right.
Understand, finish their assignments and all of it. So I will somewhere be influenced by them. Okay, I need to do that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? What if the same five friends now they are looking for an instant gratification,
Mm-hmm.
instantly hit. That
Mm-hmm.
is where they say, Ki, let us, come on, man, we really can do gaming today. Online, my mom is not home, or your dad is somewhere, or your parents have gone out for
Mm-hmm.
some party. So
Yeah.
you have time, and then, let's really do something, right?
Right.
So this is where it all starts slowly. Why? Because my attachment factor now
Mm-hmm.
is not my parents,
Mm-hmm.
not my teachers, but somebody else.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And that becomes a window. And through that window, anything can seep in.
Mm.
It doesn't
Yeah.
gush. It slowly seeps in, as if what is wrong eventually becomes right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? So I understand when I really talk to any of my cousins or any of the adolescent group who have come to me, because when they come to my OPD,
Mm-hmm.
probably they would have almost crashed because they don't come to me to prevent things. They come to me
Mm-hmm.
after illness,
Right. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They come to me after their grades have started, declining.
Mm-hmm.
They've become too irritated. Their
Mm-hmm.
sleep is absolutely tossed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all
Mm-hmm.
these things when they are hit by.
Mm-hmm.
They don't socialize. They don't like to be with their parents, going out anywhere. They
Right.
always, they're comfortable in their own rooms, their
Mm-hmm.
own zone. They want to always lock themselves up, and then,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what they term it as freedom.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
excluding yourself from society is not freedom. You need to include.
Yeah.
So these are the things that they all start with the attachment figure. So we need to be very careful of, especially parents should be careful of how
Mm-hmm.
they are attached to their kids and how the attachment is formed,
Right.
how secure the child feels,
Mm-hmm.
because adolescents, they always have the tendency to explore. They
Right.
always want to take risk.
Mm-hmm.
But when the trouble hits, where are they
Mm-hmm.
coming back to? Are they coming back to the parent, or are they
Mm-hmm.
going back to their friends?
Right. Yeah.
So this is well-informed group and this is less informed group,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right?
Right. So essentially, to kind of protect that psychological state of mind, right? And to ensure
Mhm.
that that you're not isolating yourself and that you're still kind of involving yourself. As you said, humans are
Right.
social organisms. So in order to kind of maintain your role among other people, it's important
Hmm.
not to let yourself get too carried away or too attached to groups that may not be as informed as other groups, right? So of course, that doesn't mean not to take in different perspectives. It just means that when you are kind of changing your behaviors, just ensure that it's in a well informed way and that you're not making any rash or big decisions and getting too attached, especially in your formative years where it's very easy to, like you said, get influenced and then kind of the problems start to arise after illness sets in.
So, exactly.
Right,
So
right.
we need to be quite very watchful about why, because see, any of these behaviors, are they
Mm-hmm.
really letting your brain develop?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really giving you the scope to form new synapses?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because pruning is another thing. It's like, what you're trying to give the brain as a environmental flash, it tries to channelize itself
Mm-hmm.
through activating some neurons and
Mm-hmm.
then deactivating some because now they are not so useful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Now, for example, like I'll give you this example key. If you put some alcohol or any other drug in front
Mm-hmm.
of me,
Mm-hmm.
I've already tuned myself, I need not even taste or I need not even experiment with it.
Mm-hmm.
So a big no is out of pruning. It is like, it was in front of me and
Mm-hmm.
constantly I started saying ki, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
So now I don't need so much of time.
Right. It comes automatically.
Yeah. So that
Mm-hmm.
automatic thing is nothing but a thick connection formed.
Mm-hmm.
So what if this connection was formed into taking it?
Right.
Right? Then I would have definitely said, "Oh, come on, no, podcast today, no, I don't think I can do it today." For me, that thing would have been important, right?
Yeah. Right. 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 That makes a lot of
So,
sense. Yeah.
right, so we need to understand how we are trying to influence the brain because it is a tool. The way you train it,
Mm-hmm.
right? The way it's going to really serve you in a better way. If you don't train it good, then it's really a big mess.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just keeping in mind that the interactions and the habits that we develop, we want to make sure that it's developing meaningful synapses and connections within the
Right.
brain, so that like you said with your examples, you're not developing bad habits. You're practicing and you're allowing yourself to make good decisions that will, in the long term,
Hmm.
obviously culminate and lead to either good or bad things in your life.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. Just keeping in mind that, especially as a teen, you want to make sure that you're making good decisions, you're staying well informed, and that at the end you are just being aware of how your decisions will affect you in the long term or short term, and just making sure that you also, like you said, parents or guardians or caretakers, the adults, the trusted adults in your life, are
Hmm.
generally well informed, especially when it comes to affairs regarding you. So you want to make sure that you are allowing yourself to lean on them and place some trust in them, because they may be able to help you when you are in need of help, right? So always it is very important. And as you also mentioned that you've spoken to adolescents who have come to treatment after illness has set in and they're becoming
Hmm.
isolated. So on that note as well, it's incredibly important for all of our listeners, especially our teens, that if you are experiencing such symptoms, or if you're just feeling something abnormal with your behavior, it's always encouraged and it's always a safe space to speak to a trusted adult and then seek medical help sooner than later.
True, always. So,
Mm-hmm.
gets us to talking a little more in depth about what exactly are mental illnesses. How do they
Right.
really set in?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, if we have to categorize, we can categorize them into two. One thing that you know something is happening, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing you don't know what exactly is happening.
Right.
Because mind, that's the closest thing to you. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that happens to it, sometimes we might be aware and sometimes we might not be aware of
Mm-hmm.
what exactly is happening to it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So that's where the division comes. So we need to understand, the anxiety that something is happening to me, the uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
eventually leads to anxiety that, you don't know if things can happen or not happen,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And that's very important key. The more you try to pamper it,
Right.
right, aggressive it becomes, and that lead to OCD, eventually that lead to panic attacks,
Mm-hmm.
that leads to a very lot of discomfort inside, wherein your life is not smooth, and that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense,
Right. Right.
right? And that phase can eventually lead to depression. Why is my life like this?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I be so free and normal like others?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why am I so restricted? Why can't I be, as free as I wanted to?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Those the early signs would be, I don't like to talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My focus time has come down. I'm slightly more annoyed, more irritated,
Right.
right? My
Mm-hmm.
sleep is not so healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I get too many dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good when I get up. I still feel that my brain was just running the entire night,
Right. Right.
right? So all these are symptoms which we have to have as information. Okay, am I really undergoing any of these?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
So, a quick correction, in any of our behaviors can definitely put these symptoms down,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they are throughout life, but if we do not intervene from, appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
completely, then they can last almost forever in
Yes.
some.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's very important that we have info, but whatever info we have, that is not complete. So we need to, as you mentioned, we need to seek some adults' help,
Mm-hmm.
and then go to a professional who really understands it, and then really be able to help.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
other side, wherein we don't know what's happening, that is where we term it as psychosis, wherein you don't know what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
There might be people who really, after, say, usually taking a lot of uh, drugs, which
Mm-hmm.
are not to be so, there is overfiring in the brain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what is not there, brain starts to perceive.
Right, right.
right? And that is where we term it as, hallucinate, you hallucinate things through your sensory modalities. What is not there, you're able to see. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what is not there, you're able to hear,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So that's sometimes so scary because you're able to perceive. It's not that you're not,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody else is perceiving,
Right, right. Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually the thinking can go, completely down. Like
Mm-hmm.
you might just think that what if I get up and it's a doomsday? So
Mm-hmm.
it's my thought abnormality,
Yes.
right? So I'm fully perceiving that. I understand. I can get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm believing in it,
Mm-hmm.
as a fact, but it's not a
Right,
fact,
right, right, right.
right? So this is very important that we understand the broad spectrum of from where
Mm-hmm.
to where
Mm-hmm.
the mental health can deteriorate.
Of course, of course.
It's not to scare anyone, but
Yeah.
this is the spectrum, right?
Yes, yeah, and that's the awareness that we really want people to have because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people out there who may be battling with symptoms like what you just mentioned, and really, I really want to encourage that it is always a good idea, like you said, to speak to a medical professional. And it's, of course, what you described is a very difficult state to be in. So I think it's incredibly important that people are much more aware that this, like you said, the psychosis is
Right,
it exists. It's a thing that a lot of people undergo. So I
right.
think that sort of awareness and just being informed about these different states is incredibly important. So thank you so much. I know it's obviously these are difficult topics to speak about, but I really appreciate you mentioning this and helping our listeners be more informed. So,
Yeah.
and really quick before we pivot, what would your message be to our listeners who are currently dealing with symptoms like what we just discussed, but due to there's a lot of cultural norms or just fear around seeking mental help in the community, because it might be like a taboo or just not encouraged in some communities. What is your message to those people who are struggling with such symptoms but are not really willing to seek such help yet?
Yeah. My message would be like, let me give you an example. Suppose you have a fracture. You go out and you're open to talk about the swelling. You're open to talk about the pain
Mm-hmm.
because it's an extension of your body,
Right. Yeah.
right? So you have a body and then your hand is an extension of it. So
Mm-hmm.
any problem you want to go, it is
Mm-hmm.
you as a whole body is going to take care of this,
Yes.
right? Same, but the difficulty is when it is my mind, it is myself going. It's not my
Mm-hmm.
part that I'm about to show it to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's me as a whole. I need to be out open, right? For someone to understand, for someone to listen to, for someone to assess, and then come to a conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
and then I really feel better after I'm taken care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the biggest difficulty is, when you have to show yourself out there completely,
Mm-hmm.
right? But once you should be able to understand this is your mind is a projection of your brain. It's
Mm-hmm.
also a part of you, right? Okay,
Right.
so it is always good to go reach out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand, any difficulty, any strain or any stress on the body, it tries to project, it tries to reveal itself, I'm not good, things are
Mm-hmm.
not good.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important we need to, look for early signs of anything, so early course correction from the deviated point is what is going to save a lot of time, a
Yes.
lot of energy, and that is what is going to give you a lot of confidence. Ki, okay, I deviated,
Mhm.
but I could come back.
Right.
Because all these things are correctable. We
Mhm.
treat, that means they are treatable.
Mhm.
Somebody who is deep into illness is so back to normal the way they used to be.
Mhm.
So the best thing about it is these are correctable, right? These are
Right.
treatable. So
Mhm.
reaching out is very, very important. Don't close yourself. Don't think. Don't blame the fate. Don't say, there's no one to help you. Of course, the world is there to take care. You
Mhm.
just need to understand and then reach out.
Yes. Thank you so much for those kind words, Dr. Abhimanyu. That was really sweet to hear, and I hope that everyone is able to just take something away from that, which is that there's
Right,
always someone out there for you, and
right.
you have, like you said, the whole world is there for you. So please keep that in mind, and if you know any, if yourself or if you know any friends or loved ones who are struggling in similar ways, please don't be afraid to express your support of them, because sometimes all it takes is just knowing that someone is there to help you out. So
Right.
that is that is my little thoughts on that. All right. So now I have a question to pivot. We've been
Mhm.
talking a lot about adolescent health and, development and how all these different interactions with our environment is affecting our development and different illnesses that we may get. So now my question is a little bit more about menstruation.
Right.
I'm interested in knowing when girls menstruate, how are the hormones? Because we know that when you menstruate, there is an increase in certain hormones. How are those hormones interacting with the teenage brain? And how may it cause some of the symptoms that we see in menstruating girls, such as more, or, I'll let you expand on that. So, just in general, how are the different hormones during menstruation affecting um, the teenage girl?
Right. See, menstruation is like, it is basically body tries to design it for reproduction, right? We need to understand the basic purpose of it
Mm-hmm.
is purely to reproduce. It is purely to give out your offspring, right, in a
Right.
healthy way. So every month, when your cycles are there, so body is trying to prepare, but body knows, ki, okay, not the time, so I have to shed
Mm-hmm.
it away,
Yes.
right? That's your flow, and the flow usually, it is regular. The flow is normal, and
Mm-hmm.
then you are seized in within 5 days. Again, the body prepares, and the next cycle comes the next month, right? We need to understand ki if we are under stress, right? If this is bothering us, then it should not, because it is a pure, you know, it's a physiological thing. Say I'm
Mm-hmm.
breathing. Should that
Mm-hmm.
really bother me? No. I need oxygen and I need
Right.
to put out, carbon dioxide, which is really formed inside,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is a physiological thing. It's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for few who are in their early adolescence, like, if they really hit the puberty, and then that is where they really need to understand. It might take 1 or 2 years for them to understand.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is normal. This is where I really need to take care of myself. These are the ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? I need to reach out, to for my adults,
Mm-hmm.
for help. But
Right.
as you develop, you need to understand that your emotions, right, and your physical stress, okay, and your environmental stress, all of this has to do uh, to disrupt the normal flow,
Right. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because try to get it this way.
Mm-hmm.
If it is for reproduction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't you think I'm expected to be, if I was a female,
Mm-hmm.
don't you think I'm expected to be healthy enough? Of course.
Right.
So if
Mm-hmm.
I am under stress, do
Mm-hmm.
you think I'm really fit enough to take care of another baby? No,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So my health, right?
Mm-hmm.
My health, that is psychological, physical, right? Social, is very, very important,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I looking at my task as a threat?
Mm-hmm.
So if so, that is where the stress builds up,
Right. Yeah.
right? So those hormones are not synthesized, right, the way they should be.
Mm-hmm.
For the reason ki the body now is trying to counter something else,
Right. Right.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
threat is more important,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be first addressed. So
Mm-hmm.
now the entire energy will be onto something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where we need to understand that, yeah, do not, uh, be so emotionally up or low,
Mm-hmm.
when you are into this phase. Try
Mm-hmm.
to understand ki it is a normal physiological process,
Right.
right? As I attain my age, as I'm good, fit enough to choose my life partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is where all of this is of the best use.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, I just have to maintain,
Right. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the understanding that we have to have as we are, you know, crawling or say walking towards adulthood,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
right? So yeah, emotions definitely play a very important role. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to use your IQ, that is your problem solving capability,
Mm-hmm.
to really understand what your emotions are as well.
Right. Yeah.
Most of them, they do not use, they independently use their IQ. They don't use it to, you know, be matured emotionally,
Right. Right. Right.
right? That's
Mm-hmm.
very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many people feel, I'm too lethargic. Of course, see, physiologically, when you lose blood,
Mm-hmm.
right, more new RBCs are formed,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you need some time,
Mm-hmm. Of course.
after the loss. But eventually, as you become more fit, as you work out, as you run, as you do all of this, the
Mm-hmm.
body knows how to, make it up for the
Mm-hmm.
loss.
Yes. Yeah.
So holding yourself down is not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make you weak. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to really, take charge and, try to take care of your physical health,
Mm-hmm. Of course. Right.
right?
So, really, you're saying that to kind of improve the mental experience during menstruation, it's important to build that emotional maturity using your IQ so that
Hmm.
um, you can stay a little more grounded. So,
So,
to follow up with that, what are some strategies that you suggest teens and menstruating girls employ when they're undergoing that phase? Because unfortunately, unlike breathing, menstruation is accompanied by cramps and a lot of
right,
unpleasant experience that may disturb certain tasks in the day-to-day life, and then of course, pain leads to anger and frustration if it's preventing your ability to do some tasks, right? So, um, when it really
right.
comes to that aspect of it, what are some strategies that you suggest you employ during menstruation to maintain that emotional maturity that you mentioned?
So, so what we have to first understand, okay, if I'm physically fit enough, right,
Mm-hmm.
then my hormones and the way they are secreted will be, cyclical. They
Mm-hmm.
understand that this is the time and I need to really go. So
Mm-hmm.
that is again to do with the environment, the way I'm perceiving things,
Right.
right? So first, physical fitness is very, very important. And
Mm-hmm.
the second, I would say, understand your dates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try to work accordingly. Lower
Right.
your tasks at that time. If you have cramps, try to understand what exactly is a muscle, why cramps are there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why
Mm-hmm.
pain is there. Pain is a very important thing. In a way, it really helps you heal fast,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
So, right, we know a lot is really being secreted when
Mm-hmm.
there is pain, and that really helps you heal in a better way. So have a better understanding about these things in on those days, and try to understand ki, okay, I am limited.
Mm-hmm.
It is not ki I'm limited throughout the month, but if I have to be limited, like while I'm asleep, I'm limited. I am not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
That is again for me to have a better day tomorrow,
Right. Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
having few days wherein your tasks are lowered,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are in a controlled thing wherein you
Mm-hmm.
don't explode yourself unnecessarily will
Right.
definitely help you,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is point number two. And point number three, try to have nice, good rest and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Hydration, nutrition, of course, I have not discussed much, but they are very important factors,
Yes, yes.
okay, to really take care.
Mm-hmm.
This is again, what you really are trying to reduce the intensity of the crisis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is very important,
Mm-hmm.
you need to regulate these things, try to avoid screen,
Right.
try to sleep, try to have nice, good, sleep, because good sleep actually produces a lot of neurotransmitters. So
Uh-huh.
that eventually helps you beat out irritation, anger
Mm-hmm.
management is much better when neurotransmitters are available.
Yes.
So make sure you have good thick sleep,
Mm-hmm.
your nutrition has to be good, healthy enough,
Right.
because without food you cannot really produce these neurotransmitters, which are very important
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
of hydration. So these things are important,
Mm-hmm.
and people are there nearby who really understand you.
Mm-hmm.
It should be spoken about. I am on my period, so I cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You need not really create all new excuses. It's
Yes.
okay to say,
Yes.
because it's time people understand ki it's a normal physiological thing,
Mm-hmm. Of course. Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So, and they do understand, they do respect. Okay, fine, that's okay. So we'll take care of the other task which is
Mm-hmm.
there. So it is very important. Don't be socially awkward. Don't
Mm-hmm.
feel restricted. Don't feel you are outcasted. Nothing of that sort in those days.
Yes.
Uh, you know, it's always good to share,
Mm-hmm.
be aware of what is happening,
Yes.
and then don't ruminate your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
unnecessarily. Why only to us? Why
Right.
only
Right.
women have to suffer? No, nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay, so this is very important.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I really appreciate how you mentioned that it's just a normal physiological thing that happens. You mentioned it before as well. I think that's really important for people to keep in mind that it is a normal thing that occurs to all women, and therefore it's okay. And in fact, it's encouraged to speak about it, like you said, because that kind of transparency makes it easier on you in the day-to-day life
Mhm.
if because of the symptoms that you're experiencing from menstruation, if it's giving you a difficult time, that type of transparency is what will allow you to have a smoother experience from with your day-to-day tasks, and then be less agitated and feel a little more comforted and supported, right? Because at the end of the day, like Dr. Abhimanyu said, the key to maintaining a more level mental state during menstruation is just by having a more positive mindset, right? So, some of the things that you can do to maintain that is having less of a workload on yourself if that's possible, and maybe giving yourself a break day, pushing some tasks to the future, and then, of course, sharing with other people so that you can easily and openly have that conversation, and then maybe even be able to share the load for a day, right? So,
Right.
all of these strategies are incredibly important to employ, and it's just a great way for you to be able to be more open with your community. And like he said, it's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be
Right.
socially awkward about, because it's a very normal thing that happens,
True.
of course. All right, then, Dr. Abhimanyu, thank you so much for your insights and for helping us really better understand what happens in our brains during these important and developmental years. And to everyone, to all of our listeners here at the HerFlow podcast, please remember that understanding your body and mind is not something that you grow into automatically. It does require a lot of self reflection, like we talked about. It requires knowing yourself and knowing your environment and being informed, and it's always something that's good to learn, and the best place to start is by asking questions. So
Sure.
thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time on the HerFlow podcast.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for the opportunity. Bye bye. Take care. See
Thank
you.
you.